many times. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Fight Net Radio. My name's Lee. That's Andrew. That's Miguel. In that order. Lee, Andrew, Miguel. See, there we are. We are here to talk about Canelo versus Triple G 3, all 36 rounds of it, where it brought us. But before we do all of that, let's get you brought up to date with everything that's going on. As always, go to boxingtonight.io. There you'll find a news feed, different ways to listen to all the shows, all the Fight Net shenanigans of the event. We have, 8 get to know your fight fans that still need to be chopped up, and a Sean Porter. I got to send a Dropbox to Miguel and get those in high res for you guys. And of course, we will also talk next week about 2 fights, Shakur Stevenson and Joe Joyce taking on Joseph Parker. But that's later in the show. As always, you can go to boxingtonight.io. We really do appreciate you guys going to that website. And of course, you can visit our page, fight.net.radio. We've been on there since Wednesday putting up content, and tons of it. We actually pulled off a live stream on Saturday. We failed miserably on pulling one off on, what was it? What's Thursday? Wednesday. We tried a live. We got a show done, but good Lord. So you can go to fight.net.radio and check out all of the stuff that we pulled in, all of the coverage that we had, all of the video clips. What I'm most interested in is, what was the food for last night? Just before we get started, Andrew, what was the food du jour?
I just had pork chops, rice, and vegetables last night. That's all I ate.
That is such a married meal. That's a married meal. That is a way married meal. That isn't.
What was it supposed to be? I'm not single.
Burgers.
Come on now.
I know. Well, let's ask the single guy. Hey, single guy.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you eat last night?
Well, the complete opposite of Andrew. I basically had Popeyes with leftover beans.
There you go. That's quite nice.
I had to include the leftover
single.
beans. Yes.
That's fucking single.
That's single. I am completely detox. I've decided to detox my body.
It's gleefully single. Thank you very much.
That is gleefully single. Well, I'm detoxing my body, so
You looked in that refrigerator and was like, "What can I make? What
What can I put together? Well, let me bring out my inner Emerald Agazi in me and just like bam,
bam, right in the microwave, just like that. Oh my gosh, that's so great. Well, I had water because I've decided to detox my body once and for all. Well, I'm getting a little bloated, man. If I'm going to go back to Eddie's at some point, I'm going to have to get back to my
I hear you.
Slim trim, don't jack around with it size.
Feminine
and
physique.
I'm doing it just like I did it a few years ago when I got to that body. You don't eat and you drink water and you let this lovely Las Vegas sauna, cook it right out of your skin. Cooks it right out. Drags it right out. So there you go. There's what the three of us did while we watched the fight. Andrew, did you actually pay for it?
Yes, of course.
I don't believe that at all. Actually, I thought it was a good stream. You missed out because I'm sure you didn't watch.
What do you mean? Now wait a minute. I'm kind of getting tired of all you broke ass boxing fans out there.
Not broke. It was exactly worth what I paid for.
No, wait a minute. Yesterday, the biggest complaining coming down about buying this pay-per-view. It was like, Miguel, seriously, isn't this Canelo's 3rd pay-per-view on DAZN?
Hold up. His last one was with Plant.
Plant,
it was right, but that was more of a PBC thing, no? I don't think it was DAZN.
It's still a pay-per-view, though.
Oh yeah, still pay-per-view. Yes.
We didn't, what I mean? We had DAZN. We didn't get to watch it for free. We already should have went through this shit. Yet I'm getting all these phone calls. Oh, I can't believe this. I have to pay for this and pay for that and pay for this. Oh my God. Hey, look, I started going back to 20 years ago. Boxing is a rich man's sport. All right. If you don't have the fucking money for it, you can move on. Go find a stream, go watch it on your phone. But back in the day, we used to have HBO, Showtime, ESPN, USA Tuesday Night Fights, and we had to get pay-per-views. So stop your fucking bitching with the pay-per-view thing. It's a rich man's sport. Why can't we leave it at that?
Andrew's had coffee already.
Andrew had coffee. Andrew just woke up.
Wait,
I didn't
okay.
even burn
And
this
I think
morning.
the
You
I
guys
think
are
the
seeing
Bivol fight was also
100% human being right now.
Oh my God.
I think the
I'm scared.
Bivol fight was also pay-per-view too. I think the Bivol fight was pay-per-view also. I think.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Here's a recommendation for, how did Andrew refer to you? Broke ass fight fans. Watch the Fight Net Radio live video that we shot. I actually show you how to do it on the Fight Net Radio live video for you broke ass fight. I almost want to change the name of the show. Should I go back and redo the graphics? Not 36 round, you broke ass fight fans. Like, how does that? Can I just change that right now? To broke ass fight fans. You all lift up nails and graphics for this week. And
first,
Andrew,
I had to explain why the fight was worth buying before we even talk about the fight. Jesus.
Well, that's not the order we do things in this town. So let's do things the way we do them in this town. Let's talk about boxing. And of course, we're talking boxing scene. That's where we grab our stories from. Why don't you use your site, Lee? These are local stories. Nobody covers local boxing stories. I thought it would be different. Shoot me. You guys like boxing scene and fight news. That's cool. These are all written by writers who have day jobs, who go to the fights or get a story and cover the fight or call a fighter. These are actual reporters who know nothing, like Reuters. Come on. Who wants to hear a story about last night's fight from Reuters? Well, you might. So we've got it for you. It's just different. And I don't want to pay a bunch of writers, what is it, $20 a story or whatever they get paid. Deontay Wilder versus Robert Helenius, pay-per-view. Go ahead and say it. I feel like we need a drop. Andrew just saying, you broke-ass fight fan.
No, order the fucking fight, you fucking broke-ass fight fan.
So for this fight, Andrew is recommending that you go back to Fight Net Radio, click on the live show. It's quickly in the show where I show you how to go to VIP boxing and how to avoid all the pop-ups. And they were actually pretty good last night. The audio was slightly behind by my thought, but when it's free, I'll take what I can get. So Deontay Wilder, Robert Helenius, which is a pay-per-view. It must have an amazing pay-per-view card, so they've just released it this week to tell us what we get to see. Cuban sensation, Frank Sanchez. Wow, how many times have we talked about Frank Sanchez on this show, Andrew?
Yeah, no, that's not a good start when he's the face that they're showing for the undercard. I'll tell you that.
Puerto Rican Olympian Carlos Negron is taking him on in a 10-pound heavyweight duel. Are you excited about that, Miguel?
No. I mean, yes, I do like to see Sanchez in the ring. I would like to see him a little bit more active because, if I'm not mistaken, I think the last time he fought was back in January. So he's basically taken the entire year off up until, when is this going to be? Next month, right? Is it November? So, yeah. So I'd like to see him. He was in Canelo's camp. It's kind of a big deal. He's a Cuban boxer, another heavyweight. Basically, I don't know, fucking Luis Ortiz's replacement at this point. So we're gonna get a new guy. We want to see him more active, or at least I want to see him more active. So I am gonna watch, yes, because I do like to watch. Yes, he is kind of a snoozer sometimes.
I get 3 o'clock like me.
I know. But that's kind of like.
We had ADCC. Check this out, Andrew. Last night in Vegas. ADCC was here, which is like the ultimate grappling nerd fest. Then the UFC went off over at their center, and then you had Canelo right behind it. If you were a fight fan and you could jump around last night, like say Joe Rogan, and then like throw it up on your Twitter and go, I did the trifecta. Well, only you can, bro. Rest of us can't. Like, I don't get invited. Like, you can't buy a ticket to the UFC complex to go watch those fights. It's like 12 people and a couple of reporters. But ADCC was rocking out. Oh my God, Gordon Ryan is still a beast. And by the way, if you guys are into grappling, tonight is Gordon Ryan versus what's his name from San Diego in a rematch of the super heavyweight fight. But I am telling you, if you've never seen Gordon Ryan, and I've seen him up close and personal, he might be the baddest grappler ever on the planet. I wish he would fight MMA. I get why he won't. COVID took him out. He was already getting ready to do one, but and then COVID happened. Now he looks just old. I don't blame him. Probably had COVID. There you go. Also on that card that we're all excited about, that you're going to pay more probably than the Canelo fight, you broke-ass boxing fans. Gary Antonio Russell, not Gary Russell Jr., Gary Antonio Russell, not to be confused. They could be the same person. Taking on Emmanuel Rodriguez. Let me check with my scrapometer. Miguel, is this a fight that I'm interested in?
Kind of, sort of. I mean, like, I'm getting the Russell brothers a little bit confused. I'm trying to think of the last Russell brother that just recently won. I think he won a belt or something. I think he was at 140 or something.
Are there?
I think there's 3 active ones, including this guy.
Yeah.
So once there's 3, obviously we know who Gary Russell, the regular, right, the former featherweight champ. But no, I'm not too crazy about that one. I mean, Jesus, that's undercard. Yes, they're trying to put names on this card, quote unquote names, right? With at least with Sanchez, but their opponents. Yeah, it's going to be one of those typical PBC cards.
It's going to be the co-main event that gets Andrew to pay for this. Caleb Sweet Hand Plant is taking on Anthony the Dog Durrell. Once again, I shrug, and I'm not shooting video, but I'm shrugging, going, "Ooh, Durrell's still fighting." Andrew,
Anthony Durrell and Gabe Rosado is 2 names we have to get rid of in the middleweight division.
I see an old Yeller fight, the 2 of them.
He was on there last night and just staring.
We are definitely going to talk about that because he was we did the betting show. He was like a 5-1 favorite or something ridiculous. Gabe was the favorite. Yeah, it was like a 3-1 or a 4-1 favorite online.
Oh, online. Nah, that was probably okay. Yeah. Anyways, but yeah, this is not getting me up to go watch the co-main event. I can't believe Plant. This is such a step backwards for Plant.
I'm just saying, putting this out there for the PBC. Let's say you really did do Durrell versus somebody like Gabe Rosado. If we had a public execution for one of them at the end of the fight, would pay-per-view not go through the roof? Or they rip up their. All right. That's a little extreme. I realize now. I got to be careful because I don't want to wind up in court. They just rip up his contract right in front of him at the end of the fight. How cool would that be?
Well, they are always pointing out how people take their lives on those Facebook Live things, and no one ever calls the ambulance, and no one ever calls for help. They just watch it. So there might be an avenue there one day, Lee.
See, I have Miguel. Miguel just looks at me every day. I try something stupid and goes, "Dude, what are you doing? You're trying to kill yourself. He might have said that so many times over the last 72 hours. It's almost comical. Somehow, I have lived to tell the tale yet again. So there you guys go. What are they charging?
Just remember, Lee,
charging for this mess? Do they even
just remember, you live in that madness now. You're not just out there having fun. You can't allow it to consume you, buddy. So
I gotta go live in downtown. I gotta go live on the strip.
Yeah.
I realize that. That's the only way around it, right? You got to stay in the padded walls.
I don't know.
Boo boo. The only reason I'm putting up the Andre Parker interim title fight is just because I want to say boo boo. Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade, or Andrade, depending on what day, is fighting some dude named Zach Parker, who we've never heard of, for the interim WBO belt. And just because I like saying boo boo, there you go. Do you actually care, Andrew?
One of the most wasted, talented fighters of this era is going to be Demetrius Andrade, and his last name is Andrade.
Is it?
He hasn't earned the respect of changing it yet. To change your name, you got to actually be someone. So we're going to pronounce it how it was.
So if I were to get him for a Get to Know Your Fight fan, the only appropriate thing is to say, "What's up, boo boo?"
Yes. Yeah. Or Andrade, or call it like it is and tell him he hasn't earned the respect to change his name yet.
Dude, probably.
Seriously, this guy has been on every network there is. He's been almost in every promoter's office doing fights. He's been everywhere. He's undefeated. He has a title. Why he can't nail down one of the big fish in these divisions to get himself a legit fight it's crazy. I mean, you know how big his head has to be at home, how his family's heard this guy talk about the rest of the boxing world avoiding him. And somewhat, he kind of has an argument. He's undefeated. He has a title. They've all talked about him. Shit, Canelo cussed him out in a press conference. They got him nowhere. It's really weird, but yeah, I gotta say he's one of the most wasted talents that I've ever seen go through a career. Being I believe he's even a multi-division champ with that WBO title. I think he's won it twice. And yeah, just sucks, man. Sucks where he's at. I blame a lot of it on Eddie, but go ahead.
There's your boo-boo update. I wish I could put all the titles up. One day I'm going to put all the titles. Your boo-boo update. Miguel, boo-boo.
Well, I mean, he was a champ right at 160, the WBO champ. One of his mandatories was this dude, this fucking Kazakh dude, the Janik Bek guy, who's fucking dangerous as hell. Rather than to defend it with him, he basically relinquished the belt to move up to 168. I don't blame him one bit because another Kazakhstan dude, sort of like Triple G, only younger. So, I don't blame him for like ducking, quote unquote ducking, Mr. Bubba. But he's up to 168 now. It's obvious that he's chasing, the Canelo money, right? I mean, we know that from the time that he got kicked out of Canelo's fucking press conference or whatever. So I get what he's, trying to do. He somehow feels that he's earned this, payday. So he's gonna go up to 168 and basically chase everybody there. My only issue is I think he's just so focused on Canelo that he's not willing to fight anybody else. Yes, he's gonna fight Parker. I get it, right? Understand. He's gonna get himself his WBO belt and he'd be like, all right, cool. Now I have a little bit more bargaining power, a little bit more leverage, et cetera, et cetera. Let me get this big payday. But he's still not gonna fight all the guys. He's not gonna fight Benavidez or Plant, or he might, they might feed him one of the Durrell brothers as an old yeller kind of thing. But I mean, I just feel like he's so, I don't know. I feel like he's so entitled. It sounds like he's so goddamn entitled. It's like, bro, dude, beat some big fucking names. I mean, not huge names, but I mean, like, some names to get you up there, not these kind of Parker dudes. But whatever. I definitely agree with Andrew. Like, one of the biggest fucking underachievers, man. So such a fucking waste. Such a waste. I wish we would have seen him against some other better guys at middleweight, but hopefully we get that at super middleweight.
Well, Eddie Hearn had words on it during the week. I didn't put the story up, but he basically said boo-boo and Benavidez, they haven't fought anybody. They all want to crack at Canelo, and they show me a record.
Yeah, he's not wrong. Benavidez, no, I know, but Benavidez at least could have, had he kept his shit together outside of the ring in regards to the substance, tested positive, pissing hot, or being heavy on the fucking scale, he would have at least had the WBC belt, and would have some sort of bargaining power the same way Plant did. When Canelo was is a 168 trying to collect all the belts, had he kept the belt, had he hung on to that WBC belt, he probably would have had that fight already. But couldn't keep his shit together outside of the ring. Let's hope it doesn't happen again.
Moving forward,
I like when Canelo was talking about his, kind of explaining about his stance on not fighting Mexicans. Anyone notice he only brings up David Benavidez's name? He's like, no, we're talking about Ramirez, the guy that's fighting Bivol. What about him? You don't talk about that guy. Benavidez.
And you know what, Andrew? Somebody asked. I don't remember if it was last night. I think it was last night. Mannix asked him about the rematch with Bivol. You notice how he specifically didn't ask if Zurdo wins. Do you fight Zurdo? Yep. He's just like, all right, cool. The plan is to fight Bivol. If he beats, okay, cool. If what about the other scenario? Hello.
Yep, I did catch that.
There's two outcomes to that, bro. You got to pick one. No, I don't. No. Is Husker going to be there? I don't want to go. It's such an angry ex-girlfriend thing still with him. He's just not going to let Oscar make any more money off of him. He's just not. No, I enjoy it. The death stick is back. Now nobody wants to fight Fundura for the strap. I just like saying Sebastian's name and the fact that he's like 7 feet tall and weighs like 105 pounds. What's next for Sebastian? They mark this as a must read. This is, when you guys see must read on Boxing Scene, this is clearly a PBC Plant story, because
that's right.
This is must read. We need to get this guy a fight because he can't stay at this weight forever. So he's going to fight mandatory challengers. Is there anybody, they're talking about Charlo. There's no way they risk Charlo. No way. How do you even fight a guy this big, Andrew, when you weigh that much? They only come up to his nipple.
Yeah, well, I've never done it, but I would probably say you got to chop it down like a tree, right? That's what they would probably lean towards. You got to kill that body, bring the head down, kill the head.
I gotta
That's
imagine he's got to eat someday.
yeah, he's got a fight coming up, and maybe with the Ocampo kid that fought Spence a few years ago. It's this is a PBC. This is how they get their guys really talked about. Seriously, is by putting up stories like this. No one
must read.
Yeah, no one wants to fight him. Get out! No one wants to fight. If no one wants to fight him, it's because he can't sell a ticket. It's not because he's the most dangerous opponent at junior middleweight. We've seen the kid fight. Yes, he's very tall. But there's nothing that I would see Charlo and all these guys being too nervous about facing him. He's just a tall opponent, and what I've seen, limited on power, speed, all that is not anything fantastic there. So yeah, this is just like I said. Al Heyman does a very good job of promoting guys up the rankings without actually having them fight. He does very good at this, where people just follow what they say. It's like a snowball effect that has worked for the PBC time and time again.
Miguel, is this a must read?
Well, I mean, it keeps his name in the, he's a young guy, and we want to see young guys be active, of course. So, I'm not sure what this fight is about here necessarily. It's going to give him a vacant strap, or is it going to give you like the regular champ as opposed to the super champ?
He's going to fight.
I don't know what the. Yeah.
Carlos Ocampo for the interim.
See, that's a step back from his last. Who the fuck did he fight? Was it Lubin that he fought last time?
Lubin, yeah.
Right. So this is kind of a step back. This is like that Lubin fight was something else, man. Goddamn, that fight was a scrap. So I mean, I don't think we're gonna get that same kind of fight against Ocampo here. But I hope this is just simply like a keep me busy type of fight, and then onto a bigger name next time, because we want to see him. I mean, look at the dude. I mean, I don't know how much longer he's going to be able to keep that 154-pound frame. At some point, he's going to move up to middleweight, and we're going to see some bigger names, bigger fights, I assume. But anyway, he's a young guy. Of course, guy's Latino, so of course we're gonna want to follow the guy. But yeah, I mean, we can skip this one, I suppose.
There you go.
They did it with Raleigh Romero. They did it with the pit bull guy. What's his name? What's the pit bull? The little lightweight.
Isaac Cruz.
Yeah, Cruz. They did it with Ennis. Boots Ennis had one fight. PBC threw out some articles about him being ready for Crawford, and literally the boxing world ran with it for like a week. They were talking about this guy being able to fight fucking Terrence Crawford all of a sudden. They do a great job of getting these guys out of nowhere. The boxing scene puts them out there, and everyone runs with it. Raleigh Romero went from fucking losing a lightweight fight to Tank Davis to all of a sudden we're talking about him stepping in and fighting Spence. What? They do a great job at this bullshit, man. The guys absolutely do nothing to get these shots.
It's a great formula. They got it down pretty pat, man.
Well, to keep our producer Sam Navajero happy, hey, Jason Maloney and Andrew Maloney have been added to your Haney Cambosos card. There you go. That's all I'm going to say on the fight. They're not fighting anybody.
Are they fighting each other?
That would be much more fun, right? So we like to keep up on COVID alerts. I don't know Alexandre Gumont, but he's still dealing with COVID and has been pulled from the Makhmadev Takam card. Cool. Maybe he saw ticket sales, but anytime there's a COVID alert, I like to alert everybody else.
I thought we were over COVID already. Come on now. COVID.
Who knows? All right, let's get to it. Wilder did not like the Joshua announcement. So he is already basically stating, for the record, categorically, whatever happens in Anthony Joshua's fight, I want to fight him next. Oh, my king, you are the champ. Deontay Wilder had this to say. I mean, right now we're handling what we got to do over here. I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, I'm back. Wow, what a run-on sentence. So there's no fight that's going to not be negotiable to have, or that it's going to be non-existent. No matter how I feel or how they feel, because I can always go back on the run in the past, like I said. Are you admitting that you had a crappy fight record before? I don't. Okay. Like saying, I may not remember your name, but I never forget how you made me feel. I don't even get what he's saying here. This is
It's like when you tell a
crazy.
one night stand.
I know. It sounds like a
No
chick.
matter. Listen,
He's
listen,
an
You
baby.
tell a girl
Listen,
before you
baby.
walk out of the room.
Yeah.
Listen, baby. No
And-
matter how I feel right now or how you feel right now, because I can always go back on the run like I did in the past.
Oh.
Like I said, like the saying is, I may not remember your name, but I never forget how you made me feel.
Oh gosh, what in the fuck?
Damn
In the man world,
It's
we call
actually
these
creepier
alpha
the way I
widows.
did it.
In man world, we call these alpha widows, guys. This is that one dude that girls just never get over, that just rocked their fucking world and blew their back out. It's like, oh my gosh, this is great. I'm never gonna forget this guy. I'm gonna compare every other guy after him.
Here's
What
exactly
is
how I
this?
picture him talking to Anthony Joshua. You remember the time we almost had $100 million fight? You remember that, right, babe? You remember that?
We can have that again. We can
We can
rekindle
have
that
that
flame.
again.
We can rekindle that flame.
Come on, we've
Okay.
only been
Hey,
apart
I
for
told you.
5 years.
Big difference from undefeated to getting your ass knocked out twice, son. Now everything's negotiable.
Everybody
Hey,
wants to
we
Josh.
can sit
Yeah.
down at the table and talk about this. We can
Right.
talk about this. When it was 100 million, you didn't want to talk about shit, huh? Yeah, you were freaking above everyone. Now all of a sudden, there ain't a fight he's not looking at.
Now all of a sudden he's playing ball. Now he's playing ball.
Yeah.
So
Hey,
his story is
these
when
boxing
we
promoters.
tried to make this fight happen, Andrew, they ran from us. Let me reintroduce to the show the Stephen Espinosa calculator. Stephen Espinosa calculator, is what he's saying true? Oh, you offered him more money not to fight him and that they would come to you. Thank you, Stephen Espinosa calculator. So for those of you retelling history, I don't make no lies up. Well, you just did. People can believe what they want, whatever. But I see it today. I still stand on 10 toes on everything. What is that? Is that like a saying that I just don't know? I still stand on 10 toes on everything. Wow. Where do you come up with this?
Now when Tyson Fury's in the ring, does he stand on 10 toes? But okay.
They know it too. Wait, they know it too. This is like a bad, this is bad girlfriend stuff. I even lowered myself to a $12 million flat. You understand me?
Lowered myself? What is this guy?
Why are they giving a champion who hasn't even proven himself 33%? You tell me, 50 million guarantee? Well, you're the one kind of chasing him, whether or not you beat Hellenius, whether or not he survives Tyson Fury, you want him next. Ah, oh, you're the best. Deontay Wilder.
Hey, he's releasing all. He's releasing all the numbers now, huh?
Oh, he is so much fun.
Giving percentages, giving totals. Shit. He's like, look, this is the scratch paper I did it all on. This was my plan. Look, see, it was a great plan. I just got my ass knocked out twice.
Look at this
now it's
spreadsheet I got in my back pocket. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
gosh. Floyd called me. Floyd told me I was doing everything right. Nah, forget
Steven
that.
Espinosa, I remember being in Steven's office. He showed me a briefcase of money, told me it was mine. Well, I didn't get it because they stopped doing fights, really.
Yeah. Like a week later.
Like a week later. Wait, and here's my favorite part of this.
Hey,
and I want to read this
so they were all family. Then they were like, oh, yeah, we can't help him anymore. Showtime's kind of not in that, $20 million range anymore.
Well, and he clearly points out why. You tell me 50 million guarantee, and the main thing the promoter says, oh, he's from Alabama, motherfucker. Dude, this dude from Alabama don't ever have to fight a day ever again. How about that? How about that? Catch it.
Oh,
why don't you just throw in the catch it outside bad baby style?
And then you spell the word that with a D. Like, how about that?
How about that? How about you catch me outside? Stephen Espinosa, why don't you all line up? He's just living in a warped reality again. I just think he's awesome. And he still hasn't even beat Hellenius. God, if Hellenius beats him. I can't believe how excited I am about that fight in an odd way.
Yes, I want to see how his chin holds up. I mean, we know he's got the pop, he's got that right hand, right, that great equalizer. But I want to see how his chin holds up after taking 2 really bad KOs.
All right, let's hypothetically say a very damaged Anthony Joshua wants to fight again after he takes his free payday from Fury, who will probably hold him upright for 12 rounds because they're buddies. We've covered that. Wilder is clearly now just cashing checks because he don't need it, motherfucker. I don't have to work another day. I don't have to work another day, but I'm working every day. Just get it right. I don't have to. I want to. Jeez, you are like, what? Good God. He's got people around him again. He's got people around him again. Doesn't take long for the sport needs Deontay Wilder. I'm going to say it. We don't have, with Adrian Broner clearly working out his issues, we need Wilder to be the crazy for everyone. Oh, well, moving forward. Hearn expects Jake Paul to beat Anderson Silva in competitive fight. What is up with the Paul brothers? So one of them's going to Saudi Arabia, and they're talking about him possibly fighting. Did I not hear this? Sergio Mora actually said he wants a piece of Jake Paul if that came up.
Oh, did he say that? I mean,
he said that on the telecast last night. One of the Pauls.
I would not be surprised. That dude he's so like every time I hear him talking about these dudes, he's like disgusted with them. So I'm sure he wants to shut everybody up already and be like, yeah, let me at him. Now, mind you, we all understand why, right? It's the major ass payday, of course, kind of puts him in a certain position where, he's kind of a big name. All of a sudden he's like, oh my gosh, this is the guy who beat fucking one of the Paul brothers or whatever, as if it was a big deal. But yeah, I didn't hear him say that, but I'm sure I wouldn't put it past him that he said that.
Does anybody get that Anderson Silva beat a real boxer? Does Jake Paul get that, Miguel?
Well, I mean, he does, but he understands that he's like 40 fucking or 59 or however old, Anderson Silva is at this point. But yes, that's the reason he chose him. It's like, oh, this guy beat Chavez Jr. Oh my gosh. That must mean something, right? Let's go ahead and get him. How old is he? 53. Bam, sign the contract.
See, there's hope for me yet.
Who checked in? We can't forget that he checked into rehab not too long after that, guys.
Oh, Chavez Jr.? Oh.
Chavez Jr. Yeah, really hasn't been seen since. I think he did one parking lot pad work in rehab, but really has been
they brought the underground kit over to the rehab.
Was it the parking lot outside of the rehab right before he checked in?
Yeah, I believe so. It's like, show him you still got it before you go in.
Still high on ecstasy in his pink socks and underwear, doing a pad work routine, and then hands in the air going into rehab. Good for him. Good God. All right. You weren't here for this, but this was breaking news this week, Andrew. So I guess we got to get your opinion. Mike Coppinger here from Vegas announced that Spence and Crawford have agreed to terms. This happened on Thursday, I believe, or Friday. Andrew, they haven't really signed a contract, but they say there's a contract in front of both of them. So is this fight really going to happen?
Well, how do I say this without sounding mean? The guys that know what the contract actually says haven't read it yet. Crawford and Spence read what they're going to get, and they're like, yeah, cool, I agree to that. But they didn't read the whole fucking contract. The lawyers right now have these contracts. They're going over them.
Let's start there.
That's, hey, Lee, like I said, all they probably highlight is the money they're going to make, what they're going to make after. And they go, see, you like that? Yeah, I like that. All right. And then they send it to the lawyer and he goes, wait a minute. Al Heyman said he's going to owe you for 6 fights if you sign this thing. You can't sign this. What? It says that where? Right here. Oh, fuck that. And then the fight's off. So we have to get over that.
Bold double print where you got an initial next to it.
Yes. Yes. We got to get over this. Once I heard, oh, well, the lawyers need to read it first, I started having doubt right away, all over again. So we'll see. It's a good place. Look, this is the best news we've had about this fight being put together, is that at least finally both of them have seemed to agree to the terms that they're going to receive if this fight takes off. As far as the contract, we'll see what the lawyers say and if they have their guys sign.
Well, it's a few days later, Miguel. You still 50-50 on this?
50-50 as in whether or not it's going to happen?
Yeah.
Is that what you mean? Oh, I mean, I don't know. Like I want to say, and this is the, the naive fan in me, that this is further than we've gone before. So there's promise. It seems promising.
Battered wife
So
syndrome again.
probably I'm coming back.
Oh.
I'm coming back. He's so good to me. They're so good to me.
He's so good to me. He bought me a ring.
You guys so see what they do, how he does. What he does to me, how he treats me. So
when they're not bad.
Yeah, when he's not bad, he's such a great guy. When you guys aren't around,
you guys don't know. You don't know
yeah.
what he's like when you're not here.
So
he only does that because he drinks too much. He says he's going to stop drinking.
Say it. Yes, it's only because he's drinking.
Yeah, he'll stop real soon. He'll stop drinking. He promised me.
Oh my God, fight fans.
So yeah, this is the carrot on a stick. I'm being lured in again. I'm just I'm a glutton for pain apparently, but I do think this is well, at least it appears as though it's further along than it has been before. So there's some promise showing, and I'm gonna fall for the trap. So I will bite the bait. I do think it's more of I'm at not 50-50, but more like 60-40 at this point. I think the fight's gonna happen because really, if it doesn't happen now, God damn it, I'll tell you the truth. I'll walk away. I'm walking away, guys. If it doesn't happen, I'm walking away from this fucking fight for sure, and I'll listen to my family. But
so here's the question I really have: is Mike Coppinger the greatest PR pimp for boxing of all time? Like this dude has broken so. Like I feel like we should do that. Like just get.
No, wait a minute, because I got to start off by saying.
Is Coppinger ever right?
No, exactly. I'm glad you ended it that way because he's been called out so many times about putting
he's making
stories
it up.
out.
Like he's just making it up.
Yeah.
I agree. Source. No, I'm serious. I'm gonna get some guys in Brazil. I'm gonna get a really big boxing Twitter account and just start tweeting, like QAnon type boxing conspiracies, and sources close to QAnon boxing have said.
Yeah, sure. Spence agrees the fight. Crawford isn't. It's Crawford's fault. Just tweet that out. It'll go. It'll go viral.
Sure.
Yeah, and then at the very end, be like, in the end, you guys will know I'm right. I won't prove it now. I'll prove nothing right now.
And then you got to do it right? You got to do QAnon. Remember the number 7, 12, and 33. It tells you the real answer.
You'll thank me later, guys.
You'll thank me later. Kennedy will be back. Kennedy will be back to be your president with Trump. By the way, if you're a QAnon person listening and I just pissed you off, okay. Look, good for you. By the way, we're number 1 in Turkey right now, Andrew, and I'm not exactly sure why. I was just looking at our Facebook stats. I'm like, why is it the Middle East digs us? Am I really the reason for all the wars? Katie Taylor, who we voted in the top 5 of best boobs in the female division, is going to fight Karen Elizabeth Carbajal. Now, I brought this story up because is this Carbajal a Carbajal? Or is it just a common name?
Well, I don't think it's that common. I mean, it's not something like that.
They brought his name up last night when they were talking about BAM. They go, not since the likes of Mike Carbajal have we seen an American lightweight, or in this case, flyweights or whatever the hell they are. But they were talking. I haven't heard Michael Carbajal's name thrown around, and so when I saw Karen Elizabeth Carbajal, God, let her be related.
It would be nice that at the very least she has some sort of lineage, some sort of background, and not just some soccer mom.
And she had the same haircut.
Oh yes, the mullet.
Would that not be great? That was an awful haircut.
That gorgeous mullet. Boy, what a time to be alive in the fucking 90s. Good.
Oh my God, that was a mullet.
Yes,
it was a full-blown mullet, right?
It was business in the front, party in the back.
She's not bad looking.
Does she look like a Carbajal? Well, she is pretty dark skinned. I mean,
she does. Is she
she's
from
got
Texas?
That. I don't know. Let's
she's
check
from
her out.
Texas. Wow, there is nothing on her.
Wait, hold on. Carbajal's from Texas? Shit.
Yeah. Wasn't he from Texas?
Maybe.
Phoenix.
Phoenix. Oh, Phoenix. Okay, there you go. All right, let's see where she's from. Oh, please don't let this be her. And she's got a family. I'm starting to lean more towards she's a cab driver who sells popsicles on the side.
She sells paletas.
You want to know a sad fact? I have more fighter pages than Karen Elizabeth Carbajal. This is really sad.
Oh no.
She is definitely. Her record is 0-0-0.
No,
she's from Argentina.
Argentina. Okay,
cool.
Cool.
All right, cool.
All right, now so she's not selling fucking fruit or raspados in the corners. All right.
She was born in '89. Oh my God. This is
Oh,
awful,
well.
sweetie. Do you even have a? Oh, Katie, what are you doing, Katie? I get.
What's her real record though? For real. There's no way.
Making
let's
that
go.
money. That's what she's doing.
All right, let's give her a
Go in
chance.
there and
Let's see if Katie's actually fighting somebody.
she gets a
No, she's been fighting.
vacation.
She's 19-0.
Oh, there you go. Oh, she's ready.
Okay, how many
with no
KOs?
K-
2?
with
Oh
no-
gosh.
with 2
Oh
KOs.
Lord. Okay. Well,
And I see nobody of real name. She has
Hey, at
not
least she
left.
knocked out 2 of her last 3. Her power's coming. Look
Betty,
at that.
it's
she
developing,
hasn't
right?
left
I
her
guess so.
country yet. She hasn't left her country yet.
You know, there's such a thing as old man strength. I guess it's an old woman strength in this one. Huh? She's building it.
Well, if she pulls off the upset, she is attractive. She could make the top 10 at the end of the year. She'd have belts. We'd have to consider her for pound. She could easily release. Katie, when she pulls her hair back, just looks like trash. Ugh. God bless her. And shame on you for making this fight. What is this fight? Ugh. All right. Well, Usyk's pissed. So he's going to show up to Wilder Hellenius and offer Wilder the fight.
Well, shit.
Usyk got pissed off at Fury. So now Usyk is going to go to the Wilder Hellenius fight and go stalk him to get a fight, which, by the way, I wouldn't want that fight, by the way, if you were Deontay Wilder with all your crazy plans going on. This is a bad fight.
Al Heyman would never do it. Heyman would never give Wilder the Usyk.
Heyman's not Hearns, not Tommy Hearns. He's not going to do it.
No.
I cannot believe it. Like,
although I am looking forward. I'm looking forward to one of those like camera shots. You see that picture like before he fought AJ. I'm talking about Usyk, where like he's in the crowd in the background, right? Someone took a picture of like AJ in the ring, and in the background, I want to see. Yeah, how he's staring at him. There's going to be another one for Usyk and fucking Wilder.
No,
this man's certifiably nuts. He is legitimately.
I mean, just look at that.
He's boxing Fedor Emelianenko. I've never seen somebody look at people with the "I really want you dead." I just want you dead. When he turns that on, whatever that is, he has two extremes. Like, I either want you dead, or hey, let's go stick a firecracker in Tommy Hearns' butt crack. Like, those are his two speeds. There is no in between.
He has to smile though, because that tooth gap just makes it even scarier.
Oh my God! Well, enjoy the heavyweights for the next couple of weeks. It's all topsy turvy. I keep bringing up Progress because this, Andrew, you talked about Boo Boo being wasted talent. Tell me, Progress isn't wasted talent. Like, this was a dude who kind of was standing on top of the world. And now he's going to fight Zepeda for the vacant WBC title. Can he beat Zepeda?
Yes, of course he can. He could beat Zepeda, and to be honest with you, he's already fought in Josh Taylor. So he's already fought in the top of the mountain. He didn't win. It was a close fight, lost a decision, but he's been to the top. Boo Boo, he hasn't even come close to, to signing a contract. So
Progress is the classic example, much like we talked about with other fighters. When you aren't playing with the big three promoters, you're kind of doomed, bro.
Yes.
Kind of doomed.
Yeah, you could put him in that category.
I mean, watching him go from, that was the Super 6 or Super 8, whatever the hell that was, to being that close with Taylor to nothing. You've done nothing. And so now you're taking by the way, awaiting a contract still. Again with the awaiting contract thing. God damn. I'll bet this dude will fight anybody in a phone booth right now for money. Am I wrong to think this, Miguel? I just thought Progress was a talent. And then he did the Triller deal. Then he jumped over and I think was on a PBC card for a split second. And
I don't want to say he was a talent because he still is talented. Mind you, there's only loss or at least recent loss was to Taylor. So it's not like he's not fighting top dudes, but that doesn't mean he's lost any of his step. Although again, what we said earlier, him not being associated with any one of those big promoters is hurting him. Only certain guys can get away with that, and unfortunately, Regis can't, at least not yet. And we kind of like flip-flopped on him a few times. We thought it was a good idea that he was like kind of by himself because he was able to get that Triller
until he did
gig.
Triller.
And well, here's the thing. I mean, maybe he got a huge payday for that. We don't know. So maybe he's still kind of living off of that money and is not too, because like he did kind of complain a couple of times with Cepeda, and I forgot who was supposed to be against Ramirez, I think, right? Against
Yeah.
Jose Ramirez. That's the fight, and he was like, "What the fuck? I need to be there. I should be there." Well, for whatever reason, Ramirez is out, and now we have Prograis. I'm sure there was a reason. I don't recall right off the top of my head, but I'm sure Prograis is happy as fuck that they threw him into this mix because there. I mean, realistically, there's where he belongs. I do think he belongs amongst the top guys, and if what's his name? If Josh Taylor is going to eventually move up to 147 after his rematch with Catterall, then hey, that leaves the 140-pound division pretty wide open. And the fact that this dude fought him and like put on a great fight. I mean, if you see Josh Taylor's eye after that fight, it's like, whoa, this dude is not, he's maybe a few steps behind, a few levels down, but not that far. So that really like breaks open the 140-pound division. Perfect. Like it is ripe for Regis to come in and take over if he can, of course, but he has to fight the big dudes. This is a step in the right direction against Cepeda here.
There you go.
Brightest moment in his life was when he was with Top Rank. Julius Indongo, Juan Velasco, Terry Flanagan, Josh Taylor. Those are all huge names. That's what set up his career. Right now, he's a fish out of water. With Top Rank, he was a somebody. He needs to find his way back, and hopefully this Cepeda fight is him finding his way back to Top Rank. He's working with them again in this one. So he might be all right after this fight with Cepeda.
There you go.
Learned his lesson. Sort of
Quick
like
note.
Teofimo Lopez, right? Teofimo Lopez went out there, tried to divorce Bob, got a piece of what the real world was, and came right back to Top Rank. Hopefully, Prograis finds the same avenue there.
There you go. Go to boxingtonight.io. Check out everything from there. You can jump on any of the links. Follow him at FightFameMigs, him at Andrew Labouche, me at Lee Honish. On all sorts of different media, you can see video and stuff from throughout the week. And as always, go to our Facebook page. That is our major home. We post it. We actually have feeds of pretty much everybody on social media and try to keep you up to date with photos and everything as often as we can. We really do like our two sites, and we really do appreciate all your fans. And yes, I really would show you how insane it is that our insights say for the last 30 days, our number one location is Turkey. Are you kidding me? The U.S. is in third position behind somewhere else in the Middle East. What is it with the Middle East and us? I really do think that I'm the poster boy for all wars in some strange way. That takes us to what happened this past weekend. And what happened this past weekend, there were a bunch of undercards because they kept talking about the 5th round knockout that happened on Facebook and YouTube for free. That's not where I was interested. Let's pick it up with the biggest upset of the evening, which was Ali Akhmedov. And correction, I mistakenly said he was from the Middle East, which is probably why everybody in Turkey hates me. He's not. He's from Kazakhstan. And there's your look. That was interesting. This, I am telling you, the favorite in this fight was Gabe Rosado. And he got smoked. They kept saying why they picked Ali, because he makes mistakes, steps in, and takes shots. And we basically watched Gabe Rosado and his man-plucked eyebrows. Wow, this was not a good look for Gabe Rosado. I mean, he really got beat up, Miguel.
He did what he could. I don't want to say he got too beat up because his face is marked up anyway. Like we've said before,
he bleeds
right?
on the way to the ring for sure.
Yeah, right. So I mean, realistically, even just like a punch that's like not flush, just kind of brushing, and his fucking eyes will begin to swell and whatnot. So it's kind of a little misleading. I mean, it does show that he's taken punches before, not so much now, but I guess it sucks, but you can see, one of the things that fighters lose last, like fading fighters, is their power, right? Well, he never really had that kind of power. He relied more on his reflexes and his movement, and that's one of the first things that goes, first things that go when you start like fading, and you're on the downside of your career, and you can tell he just his reflexes were a little bit slow. It seemed like his reaction time, like there were a couple of times where I'm like, oh, he probably could have countered here, but didn't. So it's just, you just kind of hope that, it doesn't end up being some like super fucked up knockout later in his career where he basically has a call it quits then. But he's always been this kind of fighter, you know, like he takes punches and he's a very durable fighter, but that can only take you so much. You know, you don't want to be known as the guy who can take an ass whooping. Like we don't want to be known as that, but that's pretty much what he is. You know what I'm saying? So I don't. I didn't like what I saw yesterday. He did what he could, at least early in the fight. Early, he was able to like be competitive, but there was a point in this fight, which we'll see here shortly in one of the highlights, where he got hit with a right hand that really rocked him. Oh man, I was like, oh shit, here we go. This is gonna be it. It's gonna get that knockout. It's gonna end his career. But he held on, and he's a veteran, so he knows what to do. He knows to move away, to shake off the cobwebs, or initiate a clinch if need be. So he's not, his brain is still there, but his just reflexes are slower than they were. I'm not sure how much longer he can continue doing this. I feel for him, because there was a couple of the fights, I believe that specifically the one with Daniel Jacobs, where he probably should have gotten the victory and didn't. So I feel for him. I don't know what he's going to continue doing. I mean, in his head, I'm sure he thinks he can continue, but nonetheless, another loss on his record. What else can we say?
Andrew?
Gabe Rosado has 26 victories and 16 defeats. Gabe Rosado fought Gennady Golovkin in 2013. He has only had 5 victories since 2013 and 11 or 10 defeats. Oof. The guy's a nobody. He's a walking punching bag. He doesn't deserve to be on pay-per-view. I've said this many times. It's a broken record. He has 3 losses in a row, you guys. The guy lost
who was in a Rocky movie. The
guy lost to Sugar Shane Mosley fucking Jr. in his last fight. Mm-hmm. Junior. He lost to Junior. All right? Mosley Jr. is worse than Chavez Jr. Seriously, when you're talking about boxing careers. He lost to him. This guy has no business on any pay-per-view card. No business. He is a gap filler. He is a moving punching bag. He's a nobody. It's very sad that they keep selling this bullshit to us. 16 defeats, guys. 16 defeats. In 9 years, he has...
He was in Creed, dude.
I don't care.
And by the way, they brought that up during the fight.
No, I don't even know. Does anyone even care about the Creed movies?
Well,
seriously,
this is what I think. I think people.
He's in the third one.
Well, I think people recognize him because of it. Tuned in once to watch his fight, see him get his ass beaten. It's like, I'll fuck this guy, and then never tuned in again. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, because I never seen Creed win any award. It's not Rocky. Rocky went up for the best picture, right? That year. It won best picture. It won best actor. Like, that's not fucking Creed. This is not Roberto Duran. Gabe Rosado's not Duran. And, Canelo's in the new one. That's cool. But no, I hope it's not because of Creed.
Actually, because we asked that question most of the week, Andrew, the two Rocky movies, all the fighters or fight people talk about Rocky 1 or Rocky 4. That's it. There's nothing else but Rocky 1 or Rocky 4.
No, I don't know. That's what we talk about a lot. But there's people talk about all the Rocky movies except really Antonio Tarver's movie. That's the one no one really liked, was the Tarver.
Balboa?
And Tarver's the only one that talks about his movie. But either way, I don't care about the Creed. That's why he's on pay-per-view. Bullshit. He's on pay-per-view because he looks good in front of a camera. He gets a new tattoo every time he takes a defeat. He puts on his sunglasses. He gets a haircut. He goes out there. He talks all big and bad. And then he gets in the ring and he loses. It's not me talking shit. He has 5 losses or 4 losses in his last 5 fights. That's a loser. That's a guy that don't belong on pay-per-view. I've actually given him too much time. I'm done knocking the dude.
Fair enough. Let's talk about somebody who deserves to be talked about from last night. And probably one of the nicest guys we met this fight week. Jesse Bam Rodriguez. He's actually a super nice guy. He was a lot of fun. Little tiny guy. Oh my God, little tiny guy. He's tiny. That 114 is no joke, Andrew. I mean, standing next to me, I felt like a giant standing next to Bam.
Damn it.
It was almost comical. But a super nice guy, very humble. After his press conference, came out, stood in line with the belt, and took pictures with the fans. Gave time for us to get to know your fight fan. Gave fun answers.
That's cool. All right, you guys got him to do the questions.
And he was a blast. And he was super nice to the fans, to everyone. And he was game, too. He was game for the questions. Anytime somebody's game, you got my vote. That's a tough fight. You know, and they kept talking about him going back to back. And of course, his promoters, because he is so young, said, well, if you have a chance to be the co-main event, right, you take that opportunity because it's bigger things. He is 22. He doesn't have, you know, a big storied amateur career like everybody else, but Bam is special in my mind. Well, I'm going way over on Bam, but Bam is building his credentials off of beating up people in the top 10. He's not like loading his record, Miguel, on nobodies.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. They did mention that he was kind of hesitant to take this fight, right? Because he just fought. But again, he's a young guy, so he can do that. Older boxers have a hard time with that, with like back-to-back fights. But they did mention that he wasn't, too thrilled about this one. But like what you said earlier, when the opportunity comes to be a co-headliner on a Canelo pay-per-view, not just a regular DAZN card, but a pay-per-view, he's going to take it. And he was he's, by the way, this is not his weight class. He said it a few times. I want to say he went up. Well, I mean, he's been up since like his fight with Cuadras, I believe, but he normally fights either 112 or 108. So it's been a couple of fights already that he's been fighting at this weight class because he's convinced that this weight class is for his brother Joshua Franco. So he wasn't too thrilled about this fight, but he took it. The opportunity came. I'm sure he got a nice payday for it, and he got himself a unanimous decision victory, which was not easy. Like, I don't know if it was just maybe his heart wasn't in it. Maybe I don't know what the hell was going on. But early on, it looked like, I mean, he's a southpaw, right? You think he's the one to be giving Rodriguez the problems, but it was Rodriguez who was landing that. Like, there was a few times where Rodriguez landed a straight right to
Gonzalez.
Gonzalez. Gonzalez to Bam's midsection, and like almost folded him over. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, damn, that's some hard ass fucking shots. So I don't know if maybe because Bam felt the power. He's like, oh shit, this guy's like a true 115 pounder. Like, I mean, he's fought others, of course, like Soren Visai, obviously, but when this dude is young, like Gonzalez is hell fucking young 25. And landing these shots. Yeah. So both these dudes were young, but man, dude, Gonzalez was landing some shots. I'm like, oh, this is not looking good for Bam. But Bam, dude, I mean, the guy literally is like, his ring IQ is he's wise beyond his years, man. Dude knows what the fuck he's really doing. His angles, I love his freaking angles, and they mentioned it yesterday too. And he knew it's like the best way. Look at and even those body shots. And yeah, granted, he got like a point deducted from he'll say from the low shots. And some of these look pretty bad. One shot in particular, like if anybody who has ever sparred knows
Gonzalez sometimes acted a little bit.
He did it a little bit. He threw a straight, and it looks like Gonzalez kind of blocked it with his elbows, with his I guess forearms, and the glove slid down and caught him like in the belt. That's an accident, understandably. The other ones, those looked a little bit low. I understand that those would have been warnings, but even with the point deduction, Bam got himself a unanimous decision victory, which was not tough. Like, he earned that UD last night.
Andrew.
I think we got to point out too that Gonzalez's trunks were covering his belly button. I didn't like that. The ref should have pointed that out when he was showing him where the low blows were during the fight, because I thought some of those hit the belt line, and if there's no belly button, then you're not hitting below the belt. But whatever. Like everything about the kid, I started thinking it was his Cinderella night, though, that now the weight was going to catch up to him. The ride that he's been on was going to come to an end, but no, he turned it around. Thought DAZN was a little bit leaning too far on the making it seem more of a fight as it went later into the rounds than it actually was. I thought Rodriguez took control at the end of this fight. Blame his corner. This is his third fight this year. You really don't see that. He's fought in 2 top 10 opponents back to back. One was a champ that he steps in to face. You just 3 fights, that's enough. They got away with one here. I don't know if he's just being overworked or if the weight finally caught up to him on this night. So let's give him a break. Let's give him a legit break. Bring him back in another good fight. But that's his third fight in 2022.
Chocolatito Estrada. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yes, that's what he should be gunning for. Yes, sir.
Yeah, and okay, so that goes to his point after the press conference. Should this kid be considered fighter of the year? He's in the contention. They kept talking about it repeatedly. Has he got a shot for it, Andrew?
Probably not, because the opponents, while they were good, they were both on the back end of their career. They're smaller men, so they don't make as much noise when they get these victories. So I'm going to say no. While his name will be in the argument, I think they'll lean, especially if Spence and Crawford gets made, especially if Tyson Fury fights Joshua at the end. Tyson Fury stops Joshua at the end of the year. I think you're looking at one of those big names taking that. It always happens that way, but one of those bigger names taking that title.
All right. How about pound for pound? Do we need to consider him yet?
No. I would have to look at the rankings, but off the top of my head, no.
Miguel, fighter of the year and/or pound for pound?
I'd say he's very close. I'm not sure. I mean, so here's the thing. If we're going to say fighter of the year, we are just talking about this year, right? So I don't know how many times Crawford, I mean, who did Crawford beat? Porter. That wasn't too bad. But beyond that, I mean, who else? Even if Crawford and Spence does get made, like who does Spence beat? Ugas? I don't know. That's worthy. If them fighting each other does it, then boom. The winner of that one will be considered fighter of the year, I think. But if it doesn't get made for whatever reason, I mean, it sucks to say it, but kind of by default, I do think it goes to Bam. I mean, he's fought 3 times this year, and two were against top 10 dudes. Yes, they were on the tail end, but one of them was late replacement, right? And it's in a weight class that is not even his, and he wins the belt, and he's been fighting 3 times. I'd say yes, if that fight doesn't get made with Crawford and Spence.
Hey, Miguel, I think we also got to put B-Ball's name in there. If he beats Ramirez, that's Ramirez and Canelo. He took down 2 undefeateds this year. So there's a lot of fights still that could be made that I think Bam's on the back end of all those names.
There you go. Which takes us to the main event of the evening. I don't even know how these guys put this up, but that's why.
Oh, that's how.
Camera inside. Oh, this guy shot inside. Good job, guys. Good job. The main event of the evening, including Alejandro Fernandez. Did I get it right? Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
12 rounds of, as we described on Wednesday, all 3 of us picked. Well, Miguel's the only one who got it wrong this time. Yeah. Miguel wanted the KO by Canelo. My initial bet, or my get healthy bet, was Canelo by decision, which wasn't. And Andrew, of course, said Canelo by decision as well. My comment was, oh, what if Triple G's just sliding in here for a slow grind 12 rounds? Well, guess what? We got a slow grind 12 rounds. This was the most uneventful of the trilogies, in my humble opinion. There was nothing exciting about this fight, in my opinion. In fact, it was painfully long. It was like watching Gennady, pull his fingernails down a chalkboard. Tell me I'm wrong, Andrew. I mean, yes, Canelo came in. He looked better. Clearly, he's back on the tainted Mexican cattle and has his power and his speed suddenly. He's gone from nothing to everything again. But against Triple G, for God's sakes, I don't know how you could have not looked that good, comparatively speaking. Triple G didn't.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that totally, Lee. I think he's missing his power combinations. At one time, Canelo was probably the best at power combinations. When he countered, it sounded like duds. When he came first, it sounded like he was bringing power. It just doesn't seem like it's there anymore. He had a fighter last night that I think wanted to be taken out the Warriors way. I think Triple G was totally ready to go balls to the walls and call it good. Canelo just didn't do it. This is the second time Canelo's had Chavez Jr., the same thing in that fight. It looked like Chavez Jr. just wanted out. He wasn't there to win. Canelo just could not put him away. And last night it was the same thing. Triple G from round 1. I didn't give him a round, you guys. And now I wasn't scoring, like I don't have it on paper, but just watching the fight. To me, Triple G never wanted to win this fight. This was all about the money. This was about him not being embarrassed. Just go 12 rounds. Call it good. This is why he leaned heavy on I'm old. I didn't really see his interview after the fight to see if he even brought that up again. But he should have, because he looked 50. I kept telling you guys the man looked, I don't believe his 40 years of age. In that ring last night, once his sweat started breaking that hair up, you start seeing all the bald spots. He has a bald spot in the back. His hairline is going all the way back. Like, The wrinkles on his forehead started showing. Like, he looked really old last night. It was kind of sad seeing Canelo outbox him the way he did. But yeah, listen, about buying the fight, my argument is both men deserve this. What was it, $75 or whatever they charged us last night for this thing?
$80.
That's it for non-subscribers. I'm a subscriber, so I get a cheaper. Yeah. VIP right here.
Yeah, front of the line. They moved the velvet rope for you specifically.
He's a gold card. He's a gold card holder.
Andrew Labouche, Fight Net Radio, right to the front of the line.
But yeah, so they gave it to us at a discount if you were a DAZN subscriber. So, and that's how I took it. Look, I knew it was I didn't expect this fight to be good. Look, you guys, I tried to sell this fucking thing to you guys on the vegan diet. Hey, well, remember, it's just like when Mayweather fought Guerrero. I literally tried to sell that thing as, well, one believes in God and the other one kind of is a jerk, so maybe God wins. I tried to sell this fight on a fucking diet. So that's how much confidence I had in Triple G at 40 years of age, is that, the only way he was going to win is if the other guy's only eating salads. Come on.
And that was the least talked about thing during Fight Week. Trust me when I say this. Miguel and I probed every human and even people from the same camp. Nobody was talking about his diet.
I gotta, that's bad journalism, because that's one of the most important takeaways from the Bivol fight was that he changed his diet for that one. Even going into the rematch with Bivol, you'd think one would think of the fucking question, hey, for the rematch, are you gonna go back to vegan, or are you gonna go, you're gonna eat cow? I don't even know how to say eat meat on this training camp. So yeah, that was one question. Everybody missed that one this week.
The one that came out of it, well, we had another phantom thing to make it why Canelo didn't knock him out. Apparently, he had a hand injury. Anybody else hear that story this week?
Not this week. No. Go ahead. Go.
Oh, well, I was just gonna say, yeah. I mean, it wasn't until afterwards, and I'm sure, like, unless there was some sort of leak, I don't think anybody would have mentioned it, because I'm sure Canelo was gonna keep that, under the table, so to speak. Is gonna try to keep that on hush hush to make sure that nobody knows, and word doesn't.
How did he not share it?
Well, I mean, remember, he makes stuff up. Remember, so. I don't think Canelo's camp was going to accidentally let that slip out or something and have word make it to Triple G's camp or something like that about his left hand being messed up and needing surgery, which he mentioned in a post-fight interview in the ring. So yeah, no one heard anything like that, right? Which is understandable. I mean, that's one of the reasons why every time I release
it at all, other than, hey, look, I got more power. The reason I didn't have my power is because this is the Manny Pacquiao hurt shoulder with Mayweather.
Well, he's going to have surgery on it, and that's going to get out. It's not like you can go to the hospital and get surgery and have nobody know about it. People are going to know, people are going to know. So it's going to come out eventually at some point. Maybe he should have waited until afterwards. I don't know, but I mean until after the surgery. I mean, but nonetheless, what word wasn't going to get out, and this is what kind of irks me about certain media people, where they ask fighters like, "How are you feeling this camp? How are you doing?" Like, what the fuck are the fighter going to say? Oh, my hand's really fucked up. My diet has been shit. By the way, yeah, it's going to be a crappy fight. You're like, obviously, they're not going to say that shit. So it always irks me when media asks dumbass questions like that, like, how's your camp doing, et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, there's no way the word like this was going to slip out. No way.
I'm telling you, Andrew, this is like the Rayfield thing at when they released the Manny Pacquiao shoulder, and Bob looked over at Rayfield. You remember, Dan? I think
right now, Canelo is in his 30s. Canelo's always been a big puncher, in my opinion. Like I said, the power combos were there when he was younger. These guys carry injuries throughout careers because of money situations. They don't know when to take their break, or they don't want to take a break until they have to. Maybe this is something that's been there for a while. He's been putting up with it. You hear it all the time. Oh, I've had it for years. I just put up with it. But now that I'm older, I'm getting into the final run in my boxing career, I want to get everything taken care of, take a break, and then we're going to do one more run at these titles. So that could be what Canelo, he's, like I said, 32 years, I think he is now, 32 years of age, fighting a long time, never had a surgery that I know of on any of his hands. This is common. This is very common for his age.
All right. Well, that takes us to the post-fight comments, and let's start with Canelo, who has made it very clear that the only person he's going to fight is Bivol. There is nothing else on the radar. There were no other names mentioned. There is nothing. There is no Zuro talk. There is no nothing.
Charlo talk. Benavides. You know, one thing that real fast, Miguel. I just want to say, one thing that I think stood out last night with everyone, as many complaints that I seen about fans, friends, family, whoever was talking about buying this pay-per-view, is no one really watched his last two fights, did they? Because if you're bitching about his pay-per-view on his third pay-per-view, did you really buy the other two? Nobody gives a fuck about Bivol.
Oof, tough. All right, Miguel, is it Bivol or bust?
You know, I want to give Canelo the benefit of the doubt, and this quote unquote clarification about not fighting Mexican fighters or fighting them, I have to assume that he's okay. So here's the thing: Bivol has a belt, right? He's got a WBA belt. If Zurdo wins, which he has a great chance of doing, and Canelo insists on going back to 175 to become an undisputed champion there and unify the division there, he's going to have to go through, what's his name, Zurdo. So, I mean, at that point, he's not really going to have much of a choice if he wants to go that route. So, I would like to give him the benefit of the doubt and say he is going to try that the same way he did at 154, 161, 168. So I think he will, and this many, and mind you, I think one of the reasons why David Benavidez' name keeps coming up is because media is asking them these questions. Like more often than not, they'll ask him about. I don't know if anybody asked him about Zurdo, but I know some people ask him about the Benavidez and not fighting Mexican fighters, but nobody is bringing up Zurdo. So I think that's one of the reasons why that's the only name that pops up, or at least anytime Canelo. Because here's the thing: whenever I hear people like fighters in Boxing and Hype or other other websites, they only catch his answer to the thing. Like I don't hear what the media guy is asking. Like I don't hear that part. I just hear the fighter's answer. So I don't know if they asked him about Zurdo or specifically about Benavidez in this case here. But nonetheless, I want to give him the benefit of the doubt and say yes, he's the kind of guy who's going to go out there and try to unify the division. And if Zurdo's got that belt, if he takes that off of Bivol, I have to say he'll take it.
Well, and that takes us to Andrew's question of Triple G. Triple G has said, I've got 3 belts. Did I get that correct after the fight? And
yeah,
he plans on defending so, right? All 3 of the belts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so
planning to go back down to 160, which I don't know how he's going to do at his age, but all right.
All right, so are we just over this division right now until Zurdo and Bivol get it worked out? Like, we're still all just waiting around for Canelo, basically. I mean, Triple G's a non-player.
Without Canelo facing Charlo or Benavidez at super middleweight, yes, the super middleweight division is done. He's cleared it out. He took all the titles. He even had the champion from middleweight move up, and he beat him too. We're done. It's either Charlo, Benavidez, or you're moving back up to light heavyweight. I don't see anything else for him at super middleweight that he could accomplish and make him and DAZN the money that they need to make a profit. We're talking $30+ million that they need to generate just to pay Canelo Alvarez right now. Anyone besides those 3 names that I just mentioned, or 4 names, I don't know if they can actually do that anymore.
Right.
Especially not without a belt, because when he was asked about Benavidez, his answer was like, what has he done? What has he accomplished? He's beat Durrell.
Yeah, that's Tommy Hearn's answer too,
right? So it's like, oh, they're on the same page there. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So with everybody else, with Callum and Plant, well, they had belts, and that was kind of a big thing. So that had a little bit of lure, that was a little bit of an incentive for Canelo to want to fight these dudes. But Benavidez doesn't have that. So even if none of the other fighters accomplished that much by beating other ex-champions or being a big deal, at the very least they had a strap, and that kind of meant something, at least to Canelo. So it sucks. I don't. how can I explain this? I would like to see that fight take place anyway, more so as a formality, really, to clean out the division Andrew mentioned it, like Charlo or Benavides. If it's not one of those guys, there's no fucking point in staying at 168 at this point. If you're not going to fight those guys the same way he did with, James Kirkland at 154 and even fucking Angulo at 154, he really didn't need to fight those motherfuckers, right? It was really a matter of a formality and cleaning out the weight class. Well, he could do the same at 168, but of course, just much more of a risk there, obviously. But yeah, if he's not going to fight either one of those dudes, there's no point in fucking staying 168. Just drop the belts and stay at 175.
There you go. And that ends the tale of Canelo Triple G, all 36 rounds of it.
Oh, by the way, guys, before I forget, I had it 117, 111. I was trying to be generous to Triple G. I gave him 3 rounds. They were in the latter half of the fight. I had it 117, 111 for Canelo.
3 or 4 max.
Yes. And I mean, can we talk about those fucking scores, please? 115, 113. What
well,
the
yes,
fuck?
They did by the way, way to go, DAZN people, for doing math going, hey, wait a minute. If, like, they were pushing hard for that draw there based on that scoring.
Somebody says one more round goes to Triple G and we have ourselves a fucking draw again. Like, what the fuck? Like, that's pretty much, and they were suspecting it was a 12th round, but after they checked the scorecards, they realized that I think all judges gave it to Canelo, which I did as well, as a matter of fact. But yeah, I mean, come on, really, one more round that Triple G wins, and we have ourselves a draw again. I mean, come on now.
That is for when they take Triple G back to the UK or whoever he's going to fight for DAZN over there. Those guys probably didn't even watch the fight. Half of their casuals don't know what happened last night, and they'll just hear.
Here's breaking news, Andrew. Do you know this was the final fight of the Triple G DAZN contract?
Yeah, it should be getting there because he was probably only a 3 or 4.
Triple G reported that this was his last fight for DAZN.
Okay, but that really doesn't mean anything. He doesn't have a market anywhere else. His market in America is dead. He's not a PBC. I don't see him going to the PBC. He doesn't play ball like that to go over to there. So I think he goes right back to Eddie Hearn to sign a new contract. That just means this one's over. It didn't mean he's leaving the company.
I think it's not a bad idea for him to do the worldwide tour, right? He wants to fight once in Mexico City to see what that's like. He wants to fight in Kazakhstan. Cool.
Well, Munguia is with DAZN. And that would be a perfect fight for Gennady Golovkin. He actually should have took that fight a long time ago. But that is through DAZN that he would get the Munguia fight.
It's a fun fight. And it's a great fight in Mexico. It would be big eyes on it. But
it would totally end. I mean, but it would kill another one of De La Hoya's stars. Like, I mean, that quote unquote start. De La Hoya is not going to do that. He knows he has a much better chance at, putting he's got a couple of dogs in this, right, in his camp. One of them is Munguia, one of them is Zurdo. He would much rather have Zurdo be the guy to take on Canelo than it be Munguia. So, I mean, realistically.
But Miguel, I'm talking about the return to 160. I do not see Munguia going up to 168. I'm talking about them unifying the middleweight division and Munguia staying at middleweight.
So you think he's not going to stay at middleweight then, is what you're saying?
No, I think Munguia stays at middleweight. I'm talking about a Gennady coming back, and because doesn't Munguia have the WBO or something middleweight title?
Something. It's probably one of those like continental bullshits, but yeah, he's got some.
All right.
I don't fucking know.
That's where I expect them to fight. I do not think Jaime's going to 168. He's too small. Yeah, I don't see that. He doesn't fill in good even at 154. I think 160 is going to be a stretch because seriously, the kid looks flabby in his prime. He had that old school Mexican body, right? Mexicans really never had the six pack and the muscles and all that, and they still had a lot of power. And Munguia's a part of that era right there. But with that being said, he still looks a little bit too off to go up freaking a 168. So I believe De La Hoya would look at that fight, especially the way Triple G looked last night. Honestly, you guys, I brought up the Murata fight before. They brought it up a lot last night about how he was getting hurt in the Murata fight. We also seen against the Derevyanchenko. It's all been the same Triple G, man. He's slowing down. He's not this seek and destroy fighter anymore. It's been a downhill effect there, these last 3 or 4 fights for him. I don't see that turning around. If Munguia is in his prime, throws 1,000 punches, you should be able to work out a decision. I believe he is. Triple G is ready to be taken out right now. If I'm Oscar, I'm not scared to make that fight at middleweight.
He's fucking like, what's it, ripe? He is ripe to be taken out. And if Oscar De La Hoya doesn't like strike with the Irish heart right now and like make that Munguia fight, he can have pretty much like quote unquote a star or a superstar, I guess. The dude who takes out, oh my gosh, he's the guy that beat fucking Triple G. He's the guy that knocked out Triple G that he couldn't, dude. Oh my gosh, he's like, oh, Canelo couldn't do it. Canelo could have done it in 3 fights. You best believe we're gonna hear that. So yeah, he better, because I mean, keep in mind, what was it? I think it was Bubba who just relinquished the belt to move up to 168. And he just gave the belt up. You know what I'm saying? And that Kazakhstan dude has the belt. So Munguia, I think, is like the mandatory for this Kazakhstan dude whose name I can't pronounce, Janet Beck or something. And if that fight doesn't happen, okay, fine. At the very least, skip everybody else, skip that Kazakh dude, and go to the fucking the other Kazakh dude, Triple G, and then take him out. Like, imagine how good a like storytelling that is. He's gonna take out the older Kazakh dude, and he's the mandatory for the younger Kazakh dude. It's like, but it writes itself.
Yeah, that's very true. Eddie Hearn's better look into that. Very true.
There you go. Quickly to wrap everything up before we run off to go start our football day. Let's talk about next week. Coming up on Friday, ESPN has got Shakur going against Robinson Conceição. Con.
Yeah,
Robson yeah. Con. Is it a good scrap, Miguel?
Good enough, at least for as long as the last, because Hobson, I guess we'll call the guy. He's a 2016 Olympian, and I believe it was a gold medal, if I'm not mistaken. So the dude is no joke. He's no he was kind of flying a little under the radar before that fight with Valdez, and even though he did lose, quote unquote, because he officially it's a loss, he seemed to either run out of gas or at least take the foot off the accelerator in the latter half of the fight and basically gave the fight to Valdez. So but he put on a very good performance, at least for as long as he did. So it's not going to be that easy of a fight against Shakur. I mean, I don't know if it's enough for him to pull off the upset, but it's most definitely worth watching, because Shakur is a special dude. He's a special fucking fighter. I see him while he's active. I'm not saying his career is anywhere near done. I'm obviously, but my point is we have ourselves a very special guy in Shakur, and anytime he's on, I'm gonna watch. So it's worth watching. Yes.
Here's my problem with Shakur. He is now. I follow him on social media. Have you seen the photos with him and the girlfriend?
Yeah,
no, I have not.
In the bathroom,
right, Andrew? It's basically softcore porn in a bathroom.
Yeah,
Jesus, for fuck's
sake. Yeah,
Oh, he's a car crash.
I totally agree with you, Lee. There's a lot of these things that these fighters post on their social media that I don't know. I guess the younger generations, they like looking at this kind of stuff. But yeah, there's so much they could just leave out.
We hate it, Andrew. Oh my God, pretty people that are half naked is awesome.
Well, no,
yeah, look at them. They're awesome. They're awesome.
Yeah.
What?
No,
yeah, that's real.
I watched porn for like 20 something years. Come on, Lee. That ain't doing nothing for me anymore. No, I'm sorry. I don't give a fuck they're attractive or not. What are we watching here? 2 people?
Well, this week was the bathroom. Well, he did the bathroom sequence this week. I mean, by the way, I recommend following Shakur and his softcore porn ex. Bob, what do you think? Listen, you got to let the fighters do what they want to do. I don't even know what that means anymore, Bob. You're recommending, if the guy wants to shoot a porno movie, then the guy wants to shoot a porno movie.
And there's one where they're licking each other. They're like,
licking tongues. They were licking tongues. I'm not making that one up.
I mean, not knocking at him for doing that. I'm saying knocking him for posting that shit. That's not
for posting it. I know. I know. It's like, don't you? Your mom wants to see that. Your grandma, your auntie. No one want to see that shit. Yeah. I hope he has like his family on
it. Baby.
Exactly. Once it's out there, y'all. Like, do they forget that once it's out there, it's like out there for fucking good? Like, you can't do this fucking.
It doesn't go. Take it from me. It never goes away.
There's this one fucking porn actress chick who was like going on, had this sob story online talking about, oh, if you guys just like stop watching my videos or stop doing this, because she's no longer in the porn industry. It's like, can we take all these OnlyFans fucking pictures back? Like, what? No, bitch, it's not how it works. You got consequences for your fucking actions. Right. Fuck out of here.
It's the AT&T girl, right? Like, she lost her mind because she did some softcore porn earlier in her career, and AT&T fired her. And the woke movement, I'm going to say the woke movement because they did this huge right into
Oh,
AT&T.
fuck's sake.
Got her
Yeah.
back. She's the girl in all those commercials.
Jesus
Oh, shit.
Christ.
There you go. Don't sleep on Concau. It's a great fight. Great fight. Really looking forward to Robson, whatever. Great fight. We're going to New Jersey. I'm not going to Jersey, but I mean, you guys should go to Jersey. It's the garbage state. I mean, Garden State.
Jeez.
Also, and we should just talk about it for a split second since we're talking about heavyweights. Joe Joyce, Joe Parker. All right. First of all, this has got to be an old Yeller match for Joseph Parker. Geez, how is this dude still kicking around? Like, Andrew, do you care about this fight at all?
Listen, yes, I think Joe Joyce is on his way to a big showdown with Tyson Fury. So yeah, I'm interested in this. Frank Warren has done a good job of building Joyce up. So this is like his final hurdle right here. I believe especially if he's able to stop, if he can make a statement on Joseph Parker, I think him and the Tyson Fury will be a fight we're going to be seeing in the near future here.
Miguel.
Yeah, I mean, it's when you get two big punchers, two heavyweight punchers in the ring, you know, you're gonna want to see it. And this is what we expect from heavyweights is big punchers. And you know, what's the name? Parker's only defeats were to Dillian White and Anthony Joshua, so it's not like the dude's a chump by any stretch. But he is obviously on the downside. Even without the losses, you know, he's at that age. So I don't know how long he's going to be able to kick it because we mentioned it before. Ever since the spider bite, he tends to fade in his fights, you know, especially later in the bout. And I'm not sure if the fight will even make it that far. But if Parker is smart, he'll go in there, guns blazing, balls to the wall early, and try to, you know, maybe catch Joe Joyce cold, you know, before warming up. And that's probably his best shot because if the fight goes the distance, I don't see Parker winning this one.
There you go. Now you guys are completely up to date for all the weekend fun. We've covered now Triple G and Canelo for the final time. Thank God. That's over. It's over. It's over. It's finally over. Check us out online. Go to boxingtonight.io. Follow us on social media. And we will look forward to talking to you guys again next week and review the fights and review the news. Thanks everyone for listening.